I'm at a different level, but I'm not where I need, we're not where I can.
But then you got here. But just like people take the bait of working overtime, you take the bait of the immediate client versus building at first. Now you're building it. But what I'm saying is like our temptation, our human nature doesn't, because what I'm saying, hey, that's you, that's me too. We all have it.
That's everybody, right?
Temptation of like the now or the whatever that people bait themselves into, it's going to show its face at every level. So you're at a higher level now than you were.
Yeah.
But you still want to take the bait of
Everyone
like, I can fucking build these back ends. I can hire this person.
If I go meet this one person for lunch, I get a nice fat lunch, and I get this client. That's way easier than digging with.
That ain't no different than a lineman taking overtime to get paid now versus building something. So what's crazy is like the advice we give others is also the advice we got to remember to give to ourselves, right? And like
definitely,
but that's not a shot at you.
No,
that's human nature, brother. That's it, and it's like, okay, what circle do I have around me? And where am I at to police that the best possible to just mitigate me going down that fucking rabbit hole, right? Because, dude, a rut and a groove are fucking next door neighbors, buddy.
That's a good point.
Okay, they're next. And if you look at them for what they are, they're exactly the same. Like what's a rut?
Groove,
certain types of behaviors for a consistent amount of time over a duration of time, right? I think I said the same thing there. But the point is, it's like you don't catch it. Like when you catch the rut, you've been in it.
Yeah.
When you catch the groove, you've been in it.
Yeah.
It's just a certain level.
We think of a rut as a bad thing, and a groove as a good thing. The same thing. It's just behavior.
They're the exact same things. One has a good result. One has a bad result.
I'm in a groove going to the gym every day. Yep. But I could be in a rut of not doing X, Y, Z, right?
100%, right? So like when people realize it, like for you, it's like, man, the same guy's taking fucking overtime versus building their thing as you taking that big fish.
Yep.
And then not wanting to build the infrastructure for the base hits that add up. And these base hits over here that add up, they will be fucking, that's a whale.
Yeah.
Your overall business, your portfolio is a fucking whale compared to these big fish. But the big fish, dude, that's $100,000, that's $50,000, that's $25,000, that's $10,000 versus these. So it's like, you just have to like,
which is cool because I recently just came out with that product for the disability and shit. And that's like bunts. But it could be thousands and millions of bunts.
It adds up. And it's also just making sure that you cater to folks that need help at all levels.
Exactly.
It's not just, he's a singer, he makes money. Like, no. Like there's things for everybody. Let's get everybody ahead, regardless of where you're at. Whether you're a 1, if you're a 1, let's get you to 3.
Yep.
If you're a 3, let's get you to 5. If you're a 5, let's get you to a 7. And then, hey, if you're a 1 and you got to 3, now you can go from 3 to 5.
Yeah.
Then you can go from 5 to 7. So regardless of where you're at financially, regardless of where you're at status-wise, like, if you just get started and just find ways to get to that next level of success,
anybody at every level,
incrementally, you can grow over time.
Well, the cool thing is I just met with those CU Boulder kids, right?
Yep.
That was super powerful, man. It was a lot of fun because a lot of those kids, they know enough to know they need help, but they don't know anything besides that, right? For me to walk in that room and have those people staring back at me like, help us, and I did. And the first meeting I had with one of those kids was, I showed him a scenario where if he just stayed as a non-superstar athlete, right? He's just basically ends college football and goes into be a regular employee of some kind of success, but nothing NFL stature, right?
Yeah.
Here's a way this still helps you and still changes your life. Cool. This is for everybody.
Yeah.
If you make it to this level, which we all hope you do, hope you make it to NFL, here's how you change your life to this level. And I showed him both scenarios, and he was almost in tears because he knew either way he's getting help. And either way, it was fucking so
cool. And like, dude, a lot of those kids, man, they want to be able to take care of their families, man. Dude, and a lot of these kids come from like not the best areas.
And hearing that, one of the things and I don't want to get nothing about personal stories here, but he mentioned some of the money he made and where it went.
Yeah,
most of it was family. Flying family out for his games.
Yep.
It's like, man, I get it now. Like, let's make that so we can help each other. So
it's like when you come from certain like just less fortunate areas, you making it is making it for your entire family. Because you go make 1, 4, 5, 12, 20 million a year, like that money's getting dispersed out to family to get them out of the hood per se.
I can show them how to make that go to them.
Because if they don't make it, hey, you're still not letting your family down. There's still a way to provide. Yeah, dude.
So I want to wrap this up with a couple things of advice. So quickly, what are some things? If you had to start over tomorrow, you had $5,000, which is more money than you had when you did start over. What would you do today? Today's world, knowing the things you do, and what would you start over with? You had $5,000.
I'd keep it in the bank.
Okay.
I'd get rid of my house.
Okay.
Sell all my cars off. I'd go sleep in a pantry.
All right.
And I'd start real estate over.
It's easy. It's almost an easy answer for you because you've done this.
And it was the right move.
And it was the right move.
Yeah,
right?
man. Like I slept in that pantry. I got licensed. I proved my ability, because something that's big for me, man, that's big in the Marine Corps is meritorious promotion and or proficient promotion. Like, I didn't open my fucking mouth in real estate until I was in the top 1% in the world for Berkshire Hathaway for volume.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't open my fucking mouth with any advice until I was 1%, period. From there, that's when we started growing our team.
Yeah.
That's when we started influencing at
you
scale.
Just do the same thing you already did.
Yeah,
it's kind of a softball question. Now, what about...
Ironically, it is.
Ironically,
it worked for me.
And that didn't mean it for that, but that's kind of cool. You've had that exact story.
Yep.
Now, to basically emphasize my point, for people listening who have more than $5,000, it's not that hard to start over. You can do. People out there have.
It's hard. Actually, I think it's harder.
Well, if you have the money in your house, we're talking about.
Ace, hear me out. Hear me out,
Okay,
Ace.
let's hear it.
When it's like any means possible, I have to survive. I have $36 to my fucking name. What do I do? Like,
Yeah.
that person to the person that makes $200,000 a year and has got $15,000 in savings and a nice little comfortable life, and he's living in quiet despair, knows that there's more, but he's just comfortable
Golden
enough.
handcuffs, yep.
He's just satiated enough. Like, it's actually scarier for that dude to backtrack and get rid of what he's got.
I did it. I know.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. So the point I was trying to make is, like, if you've got a few $100,000 equity in your house, which a lot of my friends do, and they're asking me how to do this,
all day,
sell the house, live in another house, but rent the house. You don't gotta. You can live.
It's so crazy how so many people understand the value of real estate, but they don't use it.
I know.
They know home ownership, they know investment properties build all this equity, yada yada yada, but then they never touch it.
I know.
So it's like, hey, you know how it works. Again, you know how it works. Yeah. You understand the concept. You did a great job and bought it. You've lived in it for fucking 6 years.
Yeah.
You have this chunk of money that could fund this next level of success for you,
right?
And you don't touch it. It's like this little thing that you just want to look at and not touch it. It's like, no, man, cash out.
It was some comedian. What was it, comedian or as a motive? I think it was Brad Leah. As
Brad Lee. Yeah.
He was talking about. He goes, it's like someone trying to build a swing set in your backyard with a butter knife, and you're building it next to a shed full of tools.
Yeah.
It's like, we have the tools. They're right here.
You don't want to get them dirty.
You want to get right. It's like,
don't use them. Don't depreciate.
Yeah, exactly.
No, man.
So
like,
that's easy. Okay, we covered
cash the house out, refi it, sell it, like use it, because you can buy another home.
You have to understand, if you're going to get to the next level, you cannot expect to make a leap laterally and then go up. Now, here's the thing.
Here's my dark side of entrepreneurship and next levels.
Yeah.
If like when people talk to me about hitting that next level of success, and I start talking to them, and there's certain things that they don't want to do. Like, for example, they don't want to do real estate full time. They want to keep this cush over here and make this money, right? Or like they're not willing to sacrifice certain things. Like, believe it or not only are you not going to win that way, but I don't want you to win.
Yeah, fair.
Like, I got a certain level of respect for what we do here, the grind, and I respect other hustlers that are out there taking the risk. Like, why would I want you to take none of the risk, yet reap all the same benefit that everyone else has that sacrifice, man? Like, I don't like.
It's like my tattoo artist not want me to use numbing cream. It exists. We can use it, but you don't like to use it. Like, motherfucker, I got tattoos.
Yeah, dude. Just like go through the pain.
Yeah.
Because what they don't realize is, like, so if you have a house and you have equity and you're not willing to, like, hey, man, this just might not be for you. If you can't stomach using equity,
what do you have to say to people that want to do that, but their wife won't let them? That burns my ass more than anything.
I don't know, man.
What do you say?
Like,
do you say do it?
No.
Do you say leave her? Do you say how do you
leave
do that?
her?
I don't know. Maybe,
what a fucking asshole.
Maybe some of these spouses out there are holding their fucking men
maybe,
back.
But that's like
I know a lot of men.
I mean, that's like taking something and running with
men.
it. What if this guy's been fucked up for 5 years and his ideas are stupid?
That's true.
And now he's got this other idea. No matter how great it is, she doesn't know it's great because he's fucking stupid.
This is very true.
Right?
Very true.
Here's what I will say, right? Because I'm a fan of spouses, so I'm just going to default. Typically, when spouses are disagreeing with something, it's because they lack the information.
Very true.
And they lack the clarity behind how it's going to work. So, and that's just sales in general.
Education.
Okay, minus the wife, because like here's the reality. People telling you it's their wife, more times than not, it's actually them. They're just being a fucking pussy, and they blame their wife. So you got to be able to identify that.
Oh, yeah. But what if you know the wife and you know that she's crazy?
She's crazy.
Crazy.
You're.
I've got some friends that
you're deemed like you're able to call, like you're able to say whether someone's crazy.
Here's what I'll say is I know plenty of couples
that
I know both people very well.
I feel like all the girls that listen to your podcast, so one is like a fan of me because I'm sticking up for women right now.
I'm not speaking up. It could be the other way. It could be the
like are you supposed to leave your spouse or not? Like that, those are extremes. But what I will like, and patterns go into that. But what I will say on the surface with the question, hey, I want to do this, but spouse isn't down for it. Typically, man, it comes down to just lack of clarity and lack of information that makes you understand the bigger picture of how it's going to be, how it's going to work, and why we're going to execute on it. Typically, it just falls back to we just haven't done a good enough job giving value and clarity. That's where relationships come in, because he might get it, you get it, he gets it, but maybe the way he articulates it is not good to her.
Your bigger point was maybe that guy's a fuck up, and that happens a lot too. A lot of times the guy just has a lot of ideas. And his wife's like, fuck no, I'm tired of your dumb fucking ideas. We're not doing this. Right. That's not the case.
Potentially.
Right. It happens a lot.
But this case is different. But like, here's what's great about sales, Anthony. He's not your only candidate. You're like, you're not going to make or break it, whether he decides to do it or not.
And it's me trying to help a guy out. If he doesn't do it, I don't give a shit.
Just remember, help is subjective.
Yeah.
Right? Like, sometimes help is just him realizing he's in the wrong marriage and then him having to do something about it.
Yeah.
You pulling somebody out or saving something, like, that's not necessarily helping.
Right.
I don't know. Like, help can be so subjective, right? But like, it just, maybe it's not for them.
Yeah.
Who knows? But what's fun, man, is
entrepreneurship's not for everybody either.
No.
Definitely not for everybody.
But because there's abundance, right? Of like, and this is why we're getting you to scale, because the more and more people you're in front of and that you can help, the less and less, predicated you are to just have to over or hyper focus on something that's just not gonna happen. And look, dude, if you go too far in the paint, and they do it, but they don't put the work behind it. They're just pointing the finger at you.
Hey, man, why'd you tell me to sell my fucking house? Now I live in this rental, and I lost everything. Well,
dude, less is more sometimes, right? Like, they have to figure that one out. But typically, just in general, right? Like, when people are like an immediate no, it's lack of information and lack of clarity on how it's going to work.
Mm-hmm. What about the last piece that I think has been the biggest thing for me is getting in the right rooms, right? How do you recommend someone who isn't in the right rooms right now? Where would you start?
Fuck, man, you can't find a room right now, like between social media and how'd you find a room? Man, hey, I know these girls, they were throwing this event on how to throw a podcast. I went. Like, typically,
I'm really good at recognizing opportunity though, and I think
so that's true. So, and this kind of sparks your thoughts.
Hang on, I'm gonna pause a little bit. The reason I ask, I do a lot of these things, and I don't know how I did it, why I did it. I just know, hey, there's value here. I'm going to do this. I can't always teach that though. And I'm asking you, like,
that's because you're dumb.
What's that?
That's because you're dumb. I got to teach you.
I'm a fucking lineman. Opposing thumbs.
Dumb teaching the fucking blind leading the blind over here. Here's what I will say.
I do these things, but I don't know how to tell people how to do
You're doing, well, you're probably like, you're getting into rooms to sell something first, and it's helped you. Because you're also curious at the same time. Like, when you came to that podcast event, right? It's like, hey, I can go learn how to do a podcast, but I can also meet people to sell them life insurance.
Okay.
I think you see things sales first. I'm going to go put myself everywhere to sell people something. But the reason why it works is because you're also open-minded and curious about what they have to offer.
Yeah.
And when you see value in someone, you're open to it versus, like, for me, you're open to me versus you just trying to sell me shit.
Yeah.
Because if you were to try to sell me shit that day or any other day, I'd just stop talking to you. Right? Not because what you sell isn't valuable. It's because of the mentality you're coming at me with. I would just keep it arm's reach because of where I'm at and what I'm doing. But you're not that guy. Like, I think you are default sales, but you're curious and aware of a room and when there's value. And something that you've done, man, is like, I'm not famous, but you came to the event. Most people, dude, they'll go see Tony Robbins, they'll go see Ryan Pineda, they'll go see whoever, and they'll see that guy that's in front of fucking millions talk to everybody, and then they try to get in that guy's room. It's like, no, man, like, you're not gonna like
Levels.
Tony Robbins has like 5 dudes in his room. That you ain't getting in that fucking room, right? Like, but it's like a ladder. Like, why do you need to have Tony Robbins? Like, do you realize there's 30,000 fucking steps between you and Tony? And do you know how many people are at those incremental levels that you do fucking have access to? So, like, when you went to that event where I was teaching podcasting, you had access to me.
Yeah.
You could walk up and chat with me, and like, you didn't need me to be famous to get your fucking nuts off. People got to realize how valuable just everyday, ordinary legends that there are out there operating, doing baller shit, but because they don't have 1 million followers or they don't have a household name yet, like, you're waiting for that. You wait for that.
You're missing.
You wait for me to be Tony Robbins. You ain't never talking to me.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. So it's like you've done a great job of just being curious, brother, and like finding the value in someone, not the status.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, so being curious, not worrying about people's status, but being focused on the value that they have to bring and taking what you can from it. And then the flip side of this is, hey, what are you good at? And what's your fucking value at? Because if you're just going to circles to take something,
I want to talk about that too. Yeah, because some people
they're going to kick you out of that circle, man.
Or if you speak up, if you're trying to be in these circles and you start talking like you know it all, they're like, who the fuck is this guy?
Everyone knows who the little guys in the circles are. Like, dude, like my circle with Tosh and Gavin Ekstrom and dude, they're 10 years older than me.
Yeah.
Some of them I make more money than, doesn't matter. Some I don't. I'm their little brother, and they make fun of me.
Yeah.
Or they'll talk shit to me, or they'll give me unsolicited advice, and I'm like, hey, I didn't ask you for that advice. And he's like, I don't give a fuck.
Right.
But it's like, but even though I'll bust their balls a little bit, I know my place.
Yeah.
And I'm always going to default, let them have the last word. Because at the end of the day, man, it's like these guys are significantly ahead of me in something.
Trying to get some help. Right?
And I'm little brother. Yeah. So whether I'm getting help or not, I'm just going to like, hey, man, that's okay, right? Like
what I found the most success is I've always said if you're the smartest guy in the room, you're in the wrong room. But don't be the dumbest guy in the room either. There's a wheelhouse where I think where I do really well is being the middle ground in a room.
But when
I have some success,
and
I'm trying to go more. But if you go into a room, sometimes you're the dumbest guy in the room. You're almost not. You're not going to offer value. So if you don't have value,
you got to offer value. But this is where, like, dude, depending on
that's where I found success.
Right, and I don't ever work in like absolutes. Right, so like the circles it's a circle I'm in, or the couple circles I'm in.
Just call it the circle jerk.
Yeah, Limp Biscuit. It's like there are times, man, where I'm the smartest guy in the room.
Yeah.
Because if those guys are talking to me about something with brand building or social media or how I've created content for leadership, like, there are times with these guys that are way smarter than me per se.
Yeah.
Or big. I was like, they're asking me stuff, and I am the smartest guy in the room when it comes to that.
Yeah, I like that.
So I like, man, like when you look at it, it's just when you're contributing, you have something of value. Like, it's okay to be the smartest. It's okay to be the dumbest. I think it's more so, it's just ebb and flows based off of whatever topic of discussion there is. We see things as overalls. Overall, the guy that makes the most money must be the most powerful.
Right.
But not necessarily. Sure. It just depends on what we're talking about. But I think what you have to do if you want to be in a successful circle is when they come to me and they need something from me, man, I got to own it, and I got to do a great job at giving them value.
Value.
And when I know it's not my lane, I got to be great at just listening and being appreciative. But it's this ebb and flow of just knowing who you are, when you are, why you are, and allowing that to just ebb and flow throughout the relationships in that circle.
Being natural too, man.
Dude, there's been times, man, where I've helped buddies that are significantly, dude, stoic, but they'll ask me for help on different things with how to take an event and break content down through that and how to capture it. Yeah. And when they ask me to come help, dude, I'm taking so much ownership in that lane. I'm telling them what I need. Yeah. But that's also what they want me to own it because they're asking me in the first place. Mm-hmm. You know, and like then that lets me contribute to the circle. Hey, Will came up here. Will helped run this 24-hour fucking fitness challenge, and he was running the content for it, and like they crushed. Yeah. He needs me to crush that. But that's how I give value back to a guy that gives me value in a certain way, right? Yeah. So, but like you say, it's like definitely don't, like if you're the dumbest or you have nothing of value, go find a circle where you can still give some value.
You gotta find, there's levels to everything. And if you're just always just the dumb guy, it's like, man, it's not really the best spot to be either. Mm-hmm. Now, if you're the young kid and you want to hang around the cool kids, that's one level of this, but like next thing is, okay, be in a room where you're a little more relevant.
Just, man,
have different rooms maybe.
And at minimum, right?
Yeah.
At minimum, man, just be curious, be coachable, and just work hard. Like if guys are giving you advice, the number one thing you could do, if you get a guy or a girl that's ahead of you that you consider a mentor or a potential mentor or, you know, or just potential influence for you, and you solicit advice from them, like you ask them questions, and they give you some advice, the number one thing you could do for that person in return is to just go do it.
Yeah.
Because now they know at minimum, at least the fucking time I'm giving you is worth it because you're doing it. And if that's the only return you have to give, dude, sometimes that's enough. That's enough. Because they're just proud that you're actually fucking listening.
And because if you get to a certain level of success and you generally want to help, you tell people you want to help people. Most good people who make it are willing to help people make it.
100%.
But if you ask for that help and then just fuck it off, that turns them off right away. They don't even want to talk to you. Now, if you do the other way, like you said, you at least do the bare minimum. Hey, man, you told me to go read this book. I read this book. What's the next book you have for me? That might be
well, first we're going to talk about the book, so I know you read the book.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's the first thing we do is talk about the book. But it is, man. It's like it's just
showing,
you know, hey, are you looking for the get rich get rich quick tricks or whatever, or hey, are you really here to work
Yep.
and apply yourself? 100%.
People want to come work with me. I say, go get licensed.
That's what
Get
I say.
licensed. Let's talk. If you do that,
Because that's the first
I'm in.
prerequisite,
Yeah.
man. If you can't do that barrier of entry,
Yep.
why would we ever do any of this? And
Because-
hey, as much as we want to hustle and make money, still remember that we are still providing a product for fucking people. And we got to be educated in what we're doing to give them the right fucking product, man. Like people miss that in real estate all the time. It's like they see certain things. It's like, hey man, go get licensed. Because beyond the money or beyond whatever, like you still need to understand people are trusting you with the most expensive sell and buy of their life. And you're responsible for that. So we got to do a great job.
I like it. To wrap this up,
Yep.
do you have any closing statements? Anything you want to talk about? Anything you didn't touch on?
No, man. I mean, shout out to moms today, I guess, right? Like that
Yeah.
was something that was heavy on the heart that kind of like got brought up with some stories that I think is relevant. You know, like whether women get enough credit or not, I don't know. You know, like I think that's a dangerous statement because I think it's predicated on everyone's experience. But here's what I'll say. When I'm speaking my truth, there have been a couple women that have really been pinnacle for me. So if I'm going to speak my truth, I have to give it credit because that's where mine just came from, right? So just shout out to them, man, and just appreciate you guys having me and having some fun kicking back. And what's fun for me, man, with coaching is, you know, over time, it allows me to grow a relationship with the people that I coach. And when people see coach, they see like this hierarchy thing, right? And it's like, it's really not. And as you get into one-on-one coaching, when you really get into elite coaching that costs you money that you're committed to, the way I see it, man, is like, I'm Bill Belichick and you're Tom Brady. Like, yeah, I'm your coach, but we're a fucking team because I'm strategizing and I'm looking shit, but I'm asking what you think of it when I'm watching film. Hey, are you seeing the same thing? And here's the plays I like. Here's why I like them. But then you still got to go out and throw that fucking ball and execute. So it's like
plays,
coaching is so close to it's not a hierarchy of like I'm above you, man. It's like it's this mutually agreed, cohesive team effort with how I'm perceiving things and what I'm here to execute on. No different than like a bodybuilding coach. How Hani Rambod helps guys win the Olympias. It's like you need the outside perspective to get outside of your own head, but Hani's not above you. And like, you're paying him for his services, but what he provides for you is invaluable. Like that's really how I see coaching. And most time people see coaching as in a do what I say, when I say, how I say, don't talk back to your coach. It's like when you really get into elite coaching, either professional sports and or something like this, dude, it's not. You can talk back to me. That's just a form of communication, and then we figure it out. But it's more so that cohesive piece, man. And it really doesn't start to establish itself until if guys are working hard and really committed and open-minded, you start getting into like 4, 5, 6 months, and then you get into like a year.
Yeah.
Bonds start creating, but then business opportunities also come from it. And you end up just doing stuff together, right? Like, so for me, like that's the most fun part is like coming up to your guys' podcast and just swapping spit, talking shit, man. Like it's fun because it's just happy to do it because I'm just proud of what you're doing, man.
It.
Yeah.
You caused it.
Yeah, pretty much.
If it works, it's my idea. Fucks up, it's him though.
It'll work.
It'll work.
It'll work.
I think
It's your idea.
I think there's a lot going on here. I think it's going to work. I think it's going to be bigger than I can even imagine. I think when I look back at even this episode, my first episode of like, wow, we came a long way.
Well, and dude, even if it's my idea, the execution of an idea is still more important, right? Like
Sure.
there's a lot, there's fucking ideas for days.
Oh yeah, and people give ideas all the time, and how people actually act on it, right? So
That's
here,
it.
and I'll close this up too. Is like when I went to their event, I didn't go there with the idea of, hey, I want to have my own podcast, because at that time I certainly didn't, and this kind of grew over time. But my intention was, hey, maybe I'll meet people who are smart at this, and I can learn how to use the content part of it, and from that meeting, during that, I'm like, oh, I'll be on their podcast.
Yeah.
That's perfect. That's how it works. So like, there's stepping stones to this all this, man. So if you're thinking about doing something, man, you don't got to always jump into it, but there's levels to it. There's execution that happens. Then things lead to things.
100%.
So me leading this podcast, it stemmed from that day, but when I left that day, I was nowhere near
timing.
Right.
Timing of everything in relationships. But if people are like, if you're focused on being a value add for others, and if you're focused on being a great product, whatever you're going to be in real estate and insurance, whatever you are, if you're focused on just being a great product as an individual, as a vehicle providing products, like, man, the money's going to come.
Yeah.
If you're a good dude, a good girl, what you're doing.
Try to get better and you're good, it'll come.
Yeah, man. Intent matters. 100%.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Ace, anything else? All right. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks.
Ace, God bless, brother. God bless.
God bless. Fucking like.